the takeaway I'm going to share with you today, I'll share some more next week when I'm back as well, but the one I want to share with you today is about how to create engaging content. This might be a Facebook Live, might be a video, could be a blog. How to create engaging content designed to have your audience take action. And the reason I'm sharing this is because this is not the first time I have heard Stu teach this. It's probably like the 7th time. But Stu is not the first person I've heard teach it. I've been taught this in this way over and over again. Do I always follow? No, I don't. Am I following it right now? No, I'm not. So maybe I ought to get my acting gear and actually give you an example while I'm doing it. So I'm going to switch on to that right now. So here I am in lovely snowy suburbs of Toronto, and I'm going to share with you a takeaway from my 2-day mastermind around how to create engaging content that is designed to have your audience take action. Now, and I guess I've just told you a story. I've told you the story of being on my mastermind and how sometimes I need to hear things that I've heard before. So there are 3 steps to this. Number 1, the first step and the most important step is having a catchy, compelling headline to hook the attention of your audience. Because unless somebody is a real super fan, now we will all have super fans, and the super fans are the people who are going to listen or watch or read whatever you put out every single time just because it's you. And there are people out there that I'm super fans of. But apart from our super fans, we need to be catching the attention of our audience, hooking their attention and drawing them in so they hear what we've got to share. And we can only do that with a compelling title. So if I made the title of this session, how to create content, it might not get your attention in quite the same way as the compelling, catchy headline that I came up with. I might have called it Takeaways from My Mastermind in Canada. And that would have created some curiosity in some of you to watch it, but it wouldn't have been as compelling as giving you the headline, this is what you're going to get. You know, spend some time watching this piece of content and you will learn how to create engaging content that gets your audience to take action. I've got notes, by the way, wanted to make sure I remembered all the steps. So once you've got your compelling title, your next step is your story. And the reason for stories is that stories really engage people. They engage people's attention on a deeper level and on a more emotional level than just sharing information. And so if you can immediately bring in a story of maybe a client or something that happened to you, or maybe me just now sharing the story of being here on the mastermind and how I don't always implement the stuff that I've learned, the more you can create a story out of it, the more likely it is that your people are going to both engage with it when they first consume it, but also remember it afterwards. Now, you might not always have a story. You might have a piece of content or a lesson you want to share and you can't think of a story. But there will always be something. So if you can't think of a story, you might say something like, this is something that happened to a client of mine, or I got an email from somebody who asked me this, or I saw a comment in a Facebook group from somebody who asked me this and it prompted me to decide to share this with you. But the more specific your story can be, the more effective it will be. So if you can flesh it out, you know, I worked with a client, or I knew a lady and she was in her mid-50s and she was feeling miserable because she was struggling with fatigue around her menopause, and you know, she drove a blue car, and you know, the more specific, that's not, you know, that's not a great example, but the more specific and the more you can flesh it out. So if I was to tell a story about Stu McLaren as part of this, I might say, you know, Stu, who lives in this lovely suburb of Toronto where it's freezing cold for part of the year, and he lives in a lovely house 5 minutes from a heritage trail where he can walk and see waterfalls, and he runs a multi-million-pound business where he's committed to serving clients. And something that Stu said yesterday really struck home with me, because it's one of the things that has created success in his business, that has allowed him to live in this beautiful home next to the creek. You know, it's like the more you can flesh it out, the more meaning it has for people.